If you haven't seen already, Manchester United have sacked Erik Ten Hag. Well, this has been expected since the end of last season really, after United's disappointing 8th place finish in the Prem. This should not be happening though, given how Man U's supposed to be in the higher places in the table, fighting for those Champions League positions. So it's unsurprising how Man United were looking for potential replacements for Ten Hag over the summer break. Yet he wasn't replaced, and Manchester United went into the new season with Ten Hag still as their manager, and they struggled, with a form of one win in their the last 8 matches. So of course that culminated in Ten Hag's sacking after the 2-1 defeat to West Ham. So this begs the question, what was the main reason for his sacking, and why did he deserve to be sacked? Keep watching and I'll explain how. On April 21st, 2022, Erik Ten Hag was appointed as manager of Manchester United from the end of the 21-22 season. At the beginning of the 22-23 season, he played his first match and lost 2-1. Kind of foreshadowed what would happen for the rest of his time at the club. He then lost 4-0 to Brentford a week later, becoming the first Manchester United manager since John Chapman in 1921 to lose his first 2 games in charge. From January 2023, things seem to be looking up, as Ten Hag led United to a 3-0 win over Charlton Athletic in the Carabao Cup, becoming the fastest Manchester United manager to win 20 competitive wins, achieving the feat in 27 games. He then beat Newcastle 2-0 to win the Carabao Cup, United's first trophy since 2017. He must have partied too long though, as his first game straight after this win was against Liverpool and, well, yeah, we all remember what happened there. Then a season later he would win the FA Cup against rivals Manchester City, but United would come 8th in the Premier League with disappointing results like the 4-0 loss to Palace and the happiest day of my life. They would then crash out of the Champions League, coming 4th in their group. Then it came to this year. In the first 8 games of this Premier League season, Manchester United have only won 3 times and drawn twice. This was the worst start this season than, well, when he first started. But all the same, it looked like it might have been time for him to go. And the press was certainly hinting at this, with the rumour that Man United were looking for a potential replacement for him. But it was a rumour he denied. Anyway, he then went into week 9 of the Premier League knowing that it would be his last if he didn't win. And you know, it could actually be a plot by the players. They didn't want him anymore, so they decided to play like shit to get him out of there. It would certainly explain why United missed about 5 good chances to score in the first half. And then there was the bit where Diogo Dalot had managed to go around Fabianski, and yet he somehow missed an open net. Anyway, this resulted in a 2-1 defeat for Manchester United, giving Ineos the excuse they needed to finally get rid of him. Jubilation for Man United supporters. Not really for everyone else, knowing they won't get an easy 3 points every week now. So now, back to the original question. What did Erik Ten Hag do wrong, and why did he have to go? Well, there are many answers to that question. Number 1, they played like shit. Let's not beat around the bush, lads. You can see that in the Tottenham match where they lost 3-0. They could barely defend, and Mickey van der Ven could just run 55 yards through, well, their entire half before passing to Brendan Johnson, who easily scored. And this was in under 3 minutes as well. You could see later in the game as well how they just neglected to press their opposition and could barely string 2 passes together. Then the Bruno Fernandes red card. And no matter how controversial it was, let's be honest, it was a blow. Okay, let's be honest, the match was just that bad that he'd probably just had enough. Just want to be out of there. Miss all the traffic, you know? Number 2, his signings have been shocking. Well, there's 2 parts to this point. The first part is, he overspent like crazy. It's bad if the only other club that has spent more than you since taking charge has been Chelsea. And the £1 billion they spent on players. But I understand what he was trying to do. He wanted to use the method that he had tried and tested at Ajax, which worked. But you didn't need to bring every single player to Man U. That's just so pointless. £100 million for Anthony is probably the worst signing in Manchester United history. And that's probably saying something. It was undoubtedly the easiest money Ajax had ever made. and for the other clubs as well, as United overspent for decent talent who came to Manchester and were immediately shit. Like Anthony, who probably will not go to any other club now because of how badly he's done for United. Also for Casemiro, who was already old before he came to United, but now, just retire, bro. If Jamie Carragher, of all people, is telling you the football's left you, take the hint, bro. It's time to go. It was the same for Jadon Sancho as well. After everything that happened between him and Ten Hag, one of the most promising talents had become a bench warmer, destined for year-long loan spells for the rest of his career. Which was sad to see, until Enzo Maresca helped him find his form again. Number 3. Speaking of players, let's go on to our third reason for why Ten Hag deserved to go. The issues he had with the players. He had so many issues with players, like with Cristiano Ronaldo when he didn't believe that his daughter was ill. He then went as far as to bench Ronaldo for important games like Manchester City and Tottenham. That's not really important, but still, it's just ludicrous seeing how he was arguably United's best player when he was there, and United were just not even using him. And then there were also the issues he had with Jadon Sancho, who was frozen out by Ten Hag for refusing to apologise to him because of a post Sancho made about him on Twitter. This resulted in Ten Hag losing some of the dressing room. And that was last year! A clear sign Ten Hag was already on the way out. Then there was also the humiliating moment for Harry Maguire as he was stripped of his captaincy by Ten Hag because of his run and poor form. So yeah, the relationship between the manager and his players wasn't great. And it was probably made even worse with the players that were shown to be Ten Hag's clear favourites, who he refused to drop from the squad, despite dismal performances. Players like Marcus Rashford, Antony and Diogo Dalot. Only Bruno Fernandes was the best of a bad bunch last season. But this season he's really fallen off, with red cards in back-to-back games. And he should be held accountable for his failures and not be excused just because he wears the armband. And then there's the case of Marcus Rashford, who has been a complete waste of space in the last few seasons, with some United fans even calling him a championship player. And then there's Antony, who only managed to register a goal and an assist in the 29 Premier League games he appeared in last season. Almost certainly a waste of money. And so there you have it, the story of Erik Ten Hag. His time at the club was certainly one of the more turbulent periods. Now, Ruben Amorim is set to take over as manager. When? I'm not too sure if you ask me, but I don't think anyone is. And what do you think? Should he have been sacked? Are you happy that he's been sacked? Tell me in the comments below. And please be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It really helps out the channel. Personally, yeah, I am not happy he's been sacked. Because United play Chelsea on the weekends, and now they might actually have a chance of winning with legend Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge for the time being. A bit rude if you ask me.